What's up, guys? It's me. I'm back with another video, and I'm back to discuss, well, how the NFL season's gone so far, what my predictions were, and how wrong I was, and also to talk about how I think the rest of the season is going to play out. Because, yeah, this has been a year full of chaos, and I really only think it gets more chaotic from here. It's I don't know how much more chaos you can have, but the chaos will continue. So with all that being said, before we jump into that, make sure to like, subscribe. 10 subs away from 700. I appreciate if we can get there. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos to streams. And of course, make sure to use code ANJJ for $5 off on orders of $30 or more at Circuit Diecast. With all that being said, let's go ahead. Let's jump into this. So, where are we at right now in the season? So, let's go division by division, conference by conference. So, we'll start in the AFC. Buffalo leads the division at 6-2. Um, with the Jets and Dolphins at 6-3 respectively, and the Patriots at 5-4. Baltimore leads the North at 6-3, followed by the Bengals at 5-4, the Browns at 3-5, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 2-6. Tennessee leads the South at 5-3. The Colts are 3-5-1. The Jaguars are 3-6, and the Texans are 1-6-1. And in the West, the Chiefs lead the division at 6-2. Chargers are 5-3. Broncos are 3-5, and the Raiders are 2-6. In the NFC, the Eagles are still undefeated at 8-0. The Cowboys and Giants are tied at 6-2, and the Commanders are 4-5. In the North, the Vikings lead the way at 7-1. The Packers are 3-6. The Bears are 3-6, and the Lions are 2-6. The Bucks lead the South in a tie with the Falcons at 4-5. Yeah, explain that one. The Saints are 3-6, and the Panthers are 2-7. And then Seattle 6-3. The Niners are 4-4. The Rams are 3-5, and the Cardinals are 3-6. So, with all of that in mind, we got to look at what I predicted the season to be because holy shit, I got some stuff wrong badly. Just looking at the NFC alone, I had the Rams, Bucks, Cowboys, and Packers all winning their divisions respectively, which I felt was a safe bet, but the Rams have underachieved, the Bucks have underachieved, the Packers have severely underachieved, and really the only team that's been good has been the Cowboys, sans the fact that they've missed Dak for a couple of games. Cooper Rush held it down for them, and they're not even leading the division. They're tied, as I said, with the Giants, while the Eagles remain undefeated. And speaking of the Giants, I had them going 6-11. I said back in preseason, Jones is going to try. They're going to try, but it's not going to work, and he's going to be gone after this year. Brian Dable has turned that fucking team around, and I applaud the man for it because it's crazy. It's really crazy what he's done in one fucking year. Not even a full year, really, with Daniel Jones and that team. Not to mention the fact that Saquon Barkley has stayed healthy, which is good. Um, Another one, I had the Seahawks going 1-6. I felt like this was going to be a complete tank year, and I think everybody else did. Nobody expected that team to do anything good, and they're leading the fucking division. Explain that one to me. I'd love to know. I had the Panthers overachieving. I had them finishing 7-10. That's not working out. Um, I didn't even have the Eagles doing all that bad. I had them going 12-5, finishing second to a 13-4 Cowboys team. Eagles are still undefeated. Cowboys and Giants have 2 losses apiece. Fair enough. But the funniest one is the NFC North. Going into the year, they had the easiest, relatively speaking, schedule. Packers have severely underachieved. I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. I had the Lions actually overachieving and finishing 11-6. Well, they've reached the 6 losses, but they're 2-6 on the year. Meanwhile, I had the Vikings at 7-10, and they're the ones leading the division with only 1 loss. Shocking. On the AFC side, I think the biggest L that I took was the fact. Oh, the two biggest L's I took were the Chiefs and Titans not leading their respective divisions. I had the Chiefs finishing 8-9 simply because I thought it was going to be a regression year, especially with they lost a couple of receivers, Tyreek specifically, changes on the defense again, stuff like that. And then for the Titans, simply because of a offense that seems relatively one dimensional with with Derrick Henry, not to mention also getting rid of A.J. Brown. However, I also didn't foresee the Colts offensive line completely shitting the bed. Not to mention Shaq Leonard's been out hurt a bunch, and Matt Ryan's now been benched for Sam Ehlinger. Yeah, the Colts are tanking. And if firing Frank Reich and hiring Jeff Saturday isn't further proof of that, I don't know what the fuck is. Also taken out for the fact that I had the Broncos going 11-6. I mean, the AFC West I figured was going to be a bloodbath this year. The Raiders and the Broncos have underperformed in that department. The Chargers and Chiefs have held up their end of the bargain for the most part. And then you also have in the AFC East, the Jets going 3-14. I didn't see them doing so good this year. They've proven me wrong. So with all that being said, back in preseason, my prediction was Bills Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. Well, the Bills probably can still get there. The Bucks will get to that. It's Tom Brady, man. It's Tom Brady. But even still, just looking at how I had this bracket playing out and how the season's gone so far, it's crazy. But with that being said, now we have to take a look at what I think the rest of the season's going to be. And I'm just going to rattle off the records, maybe mention a couple of games of things that I think of note will happen, and we'll go from there. So on the AFC side, the Bills, they still win the division at 14-3. Now, as of right now, there is some concern regarding Josh Allen and an elbow injury he suffered in the loss to the Jets this past weekend. I have a feeling he's going to miss this weekend's game against the Vikings, but it might be the only one he misses theoretically. So I think they'll be okay, and honestly, I don't see them losing the division lead. Now the crazy thing is, had Tua not gotten hurt, Miami would be right there with them. And there's a chance that it can still happen depending on how the season pans out. But I have the Dolphins finishing 11-6, which will make them the 7th seed in the AFC. We'll see where everybody else finishes as well. Meanwhile, for the Patriots, I have them finishing 8-9, and the Jets 7-10. I don't think the Jets can sustain this for the whole year. We saw what Zach Wilson did against the Patriots 2 weeks ago. The thing with that is if you get that version of Zach Wilson, more often than not, you're going to lose games. Not to mention, you lost Brees Hall for the year. You lost Elijah Vera Tucker for the year. But all in all, this is a massive year of growth for the Jets, and I don't think a 7-10 record is a bad thing for them. It's something to build upon when you look at it. And this year, I think has shown that Robert Saleh is a damn good coach. It's just that, shut up, phone. It's just that last year, the team just didn't do all that well. But they did what they needed to do in the offseason, and they came out of the gate looking pretty solid. So I think you take this as a Jets fan as a good year. In the West, Chiefs finished the year at 14-3. They could take the number 1 seed over the Bills, depending on how many games Josh Allen misses. But it's gonna flip flop between the two of them, and the Bills have the upper hand because they beat the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that to keep in mind as well. Chargers, I have finishing 12-5, and then Broncos 6-11, Raiders 5-12. The Ravens, I have them beating the Bengals in a tiebreaker for the AFC North crown. Both teams finishing 11-6. The tiebreaker is basically that the Ravens have the better divisional record than the Bengals, with the Ravens finishing the year with a 4-2 divisional record, the Bengals 3-3. So that loss to the Browns is gonna fucking hurt them, as well as the loss to the Steelers earlier this year. But that said, the Ravens should have a better record, if not for the fact that they've choked some games away earlier this year. They almost choked to the Patriots. They did choke to the Dolphins, and I believe choked to the Giants as well, in a cup or something of the sort. And I think there's another game that they might have choked as well. So yeah, Baltimore, get your shit together, please, and also pay Lamar Jackson. I have the Browns finishing 7-10 simply because I think when Deshaun does come back, there's a couple of games that he can win for them. And they're in a position where they can make up a little bit of ground, but it's not going to be enough. And also, fuck Deshaun Watson. Not literally, of course. And the Steelers end up finishing 6-11. I will have to see what year 2 of Kenny Pickett will be. Um, and then in the South, I have the Titans finishing 9-8. Tannehill is still out right now. Malik Willis is your starter, and while I think Malik Willis can be a great quarterback in this league, he's only a rookie. You have to lean on Derrick Henry, and that's not always going to work. So I think there's a chance that they can lose some games, especially when you look at the rest of their schedule. So they just lost to the Chiefs. They have the Broncos this week. Then they get the Packers. Then they get the Bengals. Then they get the Eagles. I mean, they could probably beat the Broncos, but those next 3 games, L, L, L. Yes, I do have the Titans beating the Packers, even for how shit the Packers have been this year, and we'll get to them later. Then they get the Jaguars at home. Then they have to deal with the Chargers. Then they've got home games against the Texans and Cowboys. I think they can beat the Cowboys. And then they get the Jaguars on the road in the regular season finale. The only reason why the Jags don't pass the Titans in the division is because the Titans have the better divisional record. They have a 5-1 divisional record. Their only loss within the division being that Week 18 matchup against the Jaguars, while the Jags themselves are 3-3. So in the division. But either way, if you're a Jaguars fan, it'll be a roller coaster every year, but it's certainly an improvement over Urban Meyer. And I would not lose hope on Trevor Lawrence. I think just keep improving the team around him, and he'll bring you what he did at Clemson. I feel like you just got to keep building him up after that shit year with Urban Meyer. Colts finished 4-12-1, and the Texans finished 1-15-1. So Texans basically win the tank, and they get the number 1 pick this year. Congratulations. On the NFC side, I have the Eagles finishing the year out at 15-2. They will not go undefeated. Who do they lose to? Within the division, I think the Giants pull off a huge upset in Week 14 at home and hand the Eagles their first L. And then 2 weeks later, the Cowboys at home beat the Eagles. So the Giants end up finishing 13-4, which gives them the 5th seed. And the Cowboys finish 11-6, which gives them the 6th seed. It's going to be a tight race between the two teams. But, and they had a bye this past week. They face the Packers this week on the road, which I think they can win. And then they get the Vikings next week, who I think they can beat. But I think the Giants get revenge on the Cowboys in Week 12. Jaguars pull off an upset over the Cowboys in Week 15. Titans beat them Week 17. And then the Commanders beat them in the regular season finale simply because the Cowboys rest starters for the most part because I mean, who the fuck is going to knock you out of a wild card spot at this point? Virtually nobody. Just saying. Vikings, I have them finishing 14-3. They're going to ride this season out and go all the way and win the division. And then it's a 3-way tie for second in that NFC North between the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears, all finishing 6-11. The only reason why the Lions somehow end up above them is they go 3-3 in the division. The Packers and Bears both go 2-4. Green Bay, y'all are fucked. I'm sorry, Grassi. Y'all are fucked. And then in the South, Brady and the Bucks, they still come out on top. They finished the year 11-6. Saints and Falcons tie at 5-12. Panthers end up finishing 3-14. Maybe there's a chance the Falcons do a little better, but it's the Falcons at this point. It's I don't know. I just don't know. And then in the West, the 49ers beat the Seahawks for the division lead. They both finished 10-7. And they both have a divisional record of 4-2. With between common opponents and whatnot, what playoff predictors has the 49ers above the Seattle Seahawks in this case, based off common percentage. Yeah, so it's going to take some tiebreakers to pull that one off, but they do get it done. The Rams end up finishing 8-9, and the Cardinals end up finishing 6-11. Wow, the Rams go from winning the Super Bowl to being out of it completely. That's crazy. So now that brings us to the playoff bracket. On the AFC side, it's the third seeded Ravens against the sixth seeded Bengals, second seeded Chiefs against the seventh seeded Dolphins, and the fourth seeded Titans against the fifth seeded Chargers. On the NFC side, the 49ers are the fourth seed taking on the fifth seeded Giants. Vikings get the second seed to face the seventh seeded Seahawks. And the Buccaneers get the 3 seed to take on the 6th seeded Cowboys. So who wins? I have the Bengals beating the Ravens. I have the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. I have the Chargers beating the Titans. So what that sets up is Bills Bengals, Chiefs Chargers. On the NFC side, I have the Giants beating the Niners. Vikings beat the Seahawks, and the Bucks beat the Cowboys again because fuck Skip Bayless. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, so you'll see. You'll see. So for the divisional round, I have the Bills beating the Bengals. I have the Chiefs beating the Chargers, setting up once again Bills Chiefs, and this time again it's for a spot in the Super Bowl. Can the Bills overcome the Chiefs one more time, considering that they beat them in the regular season? On the NFC side, the Giants have to go up against the Eagles. And because chaos, the Giants upset them again. They hand the Eagles another L and put them out of the playoffs. I know that's crazy, but god damn it, I'm here for the chaos. Let it be so. And then Vikings Buccaneers. I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins, but Brady's devil magic continues on one more round. The Bucks find a way to advance, and it's gonna be one. If this is the matchup we get, it's gonna be one hell of a game. I'm dead serious. So, Bills Chiefs, Giants Buccaneers for a spot in the Super Bowl. The Bills, they eradicate their playoff demons against Kansas City. Mind you, the Bills are playing at home this time. They get it done. They finally go back to the Super Bowl. Finally. And who do they face? Well, as much as I want Brady and the Bucks to be there, because I've said for a while, and this is what I predicted back in preseason, not knowing how the season was going to go, if Brady's going to go back to the Super Bowl one more time, he has to play the Bills. And the Bills have to win so that he can hand off the AFC East crown officially to Josh Allen. To say, I had my dynasty there. I've been removed for a couple of years, but it's your time now. It has been your time. Go run that division. And that's exactly what the Bills are going to do. But in the spirit of 5 points vids and a hell of a lot of chaos, I'm taking the Giants to beat the Bucks, and specifically to beat Brady one more time and go to the Super Bowl. Because that's just how this shit works, man. That's just how this shit works. Whenever Brady plays the Giants, it feels like something happens. They've beaten him twice in the Super Bowl. They prevented him from having a perfect season. And with him now actually retiring after this year, hopefully, maybe, finally, yeah, I'm saying that even as a Brady fan. Like, have you seen what the fuck's going on this year? It's time. It's time. I have the Giants doing it one more time. They beat him one more time. And Eli Manning's going to probably be watching up in the press box, laughing his ass off. Looks down and sees Brady. and just points at him. It's like, they got you again. Bye bye. Because in the end, it's always Manning versus Brady. It's just that little brother did better than big brother in a way. So, Bills Giants in the Super Bowl. Of course, recreating that first meeting of the four straight Super Bowls that the Bills went to back in the 90s. We all know the story. The missed field goal at the end, the Giants winning, and the Bills starting off a streak of four straight lost Super Bowls. Well, I don't think they're going to go to four straight Super Bowls now, but they get to exercise their demons against the Giants and win and finally bring the Super Bowl, I should say the Lombardi trophy, back home to Buffalo in what should be a pretty damn good game, I think. Yeah, the Giants will probably be overmatched, and that's also crazy because it's Brian Daboll as their head coach, who had been with the Bills before. So I do think the Giants would be overmatched in this situation, but for Brian Daboll to take that Giants team in what's a prove it year for Daniel Jones and take them all the way to the Super Bowl with the record that I think that they can have, and having to go through the Niners, Eagles, and Bucks based on these predictions. I mean, just getting to the playoffs, if you're a Giants fan, just getting to the playoffs is good enough. To go all the way to the Super Bowl, I want to see it. I want to see the Giants actually pull it off. But yeah, so with that being said, let me know your thoughts down below. I cannot wait to see how this is all going to turn out. And yeah, so with all that being said, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.